come in every day, or at least every weekday, as I do, and put the old Facebook Live on so that the show can be archived. By the way, I noticed July 10th, going through the archive and the people that are watching and all this, we're already the most liked sports radio station in the market. I was looking at other people that do, Facebook broadcasts of sports talk, and we were at, this is June 10th, this was Thursday's show, as of yesterday, at 1,511 views, okay? Just, like double that. And that doesn't even include how many people are listening on 1420 WEMB Sports Radio, jetbroadcasting.live. That does not read my work on medium.com. I invite you to follow me there. So you got all that stuff. And we had 1511, and our competition had 655 watching on their show that was archived on the same day. I mean, just, thank you. What can I tell you? Thank you. We are, other people are, we're the #1 sports talk radio show, and despite a signal that isn't the best, sort of like Avis Rent-A-Car, only we become Hertz without OJ. All right. All right, Marky Billson here, your voice of choice for a new generation of Tri-City sports fans. Name of the program, Tri-City Sports Now. We got the best guests. I got the best guests. Hardest hitting opinions in the market. Today's show is no exception. 12:30, about a half hour. I'm talking to our old friend Vito Stellino. We talked to Rick Goslin. It's archived on our Facebook page, 1420 WEMB Sports Radio. If you haven't liked it yet, what are you waiting for? Just a tremendous amount. One of the great things about it is that you can go and listen and watch a show, listen to an interview that you may have missed. Let's face it, as much as I would like everyone in the world to be focused on WEMB, on 1420 WEMB Sports Radio, from noon to 2, it is not practical. Okay, and since we only broadcast the show in English, that sort of makes it difficult to relate to a Spain audience and all this. But no, that's all right. However, the situation is that you can go on there and watch any show that we've done on archive. And I've got others on YouTube. I've got other, basically every show has been recorded that we've done. So here's the next thing. So we've got that. But Vito Stellino, Rick Goslin was with us last week, talked about the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2020, which will be the 100th anniversary of the NFL. May have a Hall of Fame class that'll have 20 members. And they'll go with, let's see here, 10 from the senior committee instead of just one, and try to put the people in. Well, Vito, he's been around. One of the guys who didn't make it is Alex Karras. He covered Alex Karras. All right? There's a reason. Plus, VitoStolino.com. The man is a legend. And also, what about this 18-game football season they're talking about with 16-game players? I know a lot of people that just thought that was the worst idea in the world. You know what I think is actually the worst idea in the world? It's the Atlantic League baseball rules. We had somebody steal first the other day. Real. And, they want to just bastardize the game there. I actually thought that 16 to 18 was not so bad. Because I thought that it would at least increase an element of strategy. I also thought it was something that really the owners, would, that was something for them, because can you imagine, let's say if you had an 18-game season, you'll have quarterbacks who'll throw for, 5,000 yards. 5,000 yards will be the new 4,000 yards for a passer. But it'll break a lot of old records. But if you only want to play 16, maybe you won't. Eric Dickerson has the single-season rushing record over O.J. Simpson. I think most people think that O.J. Simpson rushing for 2,003 yards in 1973 was the greatest season a running back ever had. That's debatable, but yeah, I mean, if you look at the per-game average and such, keeping with, anyway, Vito comes on 1 o'clock. Jerry Bonkowski. Haven't talked to him in a while. So we've been sort of remiss talking about NASCAR, but the Bushes on Saturday night going against each other for the victory. We've had a couple of good storylines these last two races. Can continue to Pocono. Let's see. Then 1:30. This I'm really looking forward to. I've got to turn my media ballot in on picking who is who in the Southern Conference. And here's the thing. I am, in other words, the order of finish in the Southern Conference for the football team. And really, I was going over it this morning, I was going over it yesterday, and I basically came up with the idea that I didn't think any team in the Southern Conference had a fiddler's chance in hell of winning it. I know that's mathematically impossible. We'll talk a little bit about the demise of the Southern Conference. And I mean, every team had some sort of glaring weakness. And I was just, who am I picking to win this? Now, a couple of weeks ago, we basically were like, okay, Wofford, Furman, ETSU. That's how Street and Smiths was picking it. Now I'm not so sure. I've also got, let's see here, Southern Pigskin. I got the list of the top 50 players in the Southern Conference. Number one might surprise you. It did not surprise me. And I am proud to say that I am the one guy in the Tri-Cities media who not only consistently spelled his name right, but praised him even when other fans of ETSU attacked him. So we'll tell you a little bit about that. I want to congratulate the Tri-Cities Thunder. They are the defending champion now of the United States Women's Football League Iron Woman Division. They defeated the Hampton Roads Lady Gators on Saturday, 32-6. They're talking about the national champions. To tell you the truth, they had a game later on that was for a higher level in the USWFL. Iron Woman means that most of these players were playing both ways, which is impressive. But it was kind of like, low-level high school football in terms of the depth, and actually probably a little bit less than that. In fact, Hampton Roads, at times there was questions whether they have enough players to play. They didn't bring any reserves. Now, if you listen to Friday's show, I was talking to Jennifer Garland Johnson, and I said, hey, did Sydney Robertson, she was the player who played on defensive end for the Unaka Rangers last year, and they wanted her to play, but it didn't work out. Now, for whatever reason. I mean, there are a million reasons why this, and it's not necessarily insulting to Robertson. I mean, this is not the progression from high school football for a women's player to the USWFL is not the same as the progression from, say, high school to college. You got to remember that. Robertson is one of the most important football players in the area in recent times, and I say that because she really did keep the football program at Unaka going when and sparking interest for it when there was none. Remember in 2016 they had to forfeit a game. They didn't have enough players to play against Greenback. They shouldn't have been in the playoffs in the first place at 1-9. But if a player is able to start for Unaka for whatever reason, but it just doesn't work out for the Thunder, then you start to ask yourself, wait a minute, could the Thunder beat Unaka? And so I went to the game on Saturday, and, I broadcast one Unaka game last year, 42-0 defeat to Unicoi County. By the way, Cody Lewis ran away from Robertson on every down. I mean, they did not run to Robertson side the entire game, did the Blue Devils, and they basically split it up with Brock Thompson. They could have named their score, could Unicoi County. They were, Unaka's a struggling 1A team. They're 3-8 last year. Now, when I asked Jennifer Garland Johnson, how you think you can beat Unaka, she sidestepped the question, and basically, as much as I want you to answer my questions, I see it. I'm not going to knock her on that. I mean, because she can't win that question. It's not, are you beating your wife? Are you still beating your wife? It's not that question. But it is, if she said, yes, I think we could, Thunder sounds arrogant. And that doesn't help them out. But it is a healthy discussion. Could the Tri-Cities Thunder defeat the Unaka Rangers? Well, with Sidney Robertson playing on the Rangers, but not on the Thunder, for whatever reason, okay? And to tell you the truth, I was looking at this, and I went to the games, and I've seen them both play, and I got to tell you, I think the Rangers would win. Here's just some reasons why I've come up with. They got 32 players on last year's roster, according to CoachT.com. The Thunder listed 22 players on their roster. And so, from a standpoint of depth, that alone was, a reason why you take Unaka. But also just the size of the players. Now, one of the reasons why I criticize the TSSAA emphatically for putting Unaka on probation when they forfeited that game. First of all, there should not have been a game. First place, 1-9 doesn't deserve to make playoffs, okay? Number two, you were asking the Rangers to get seriously hurt if you played that game. Because I remember looking at the roster and I saw a wide receiver for Unaka who was listed at 125 pounds. Then I saw a defensive back for Greenback, who was the team that they would have played, and went on to play for the state championship in 2016. And he was listed at 195 pounds. Now, does that not sound barbaric if you asked that receiver to go over the middle, which is a legitimate football play? And I mean, it's something you would have to have called to beat Greenback. I mean, how else would you have done it? Now, that just, it's barbaric. So that's why you don't play that game. And here's the deal, though. I was looking at the size of the team. Unaka last year had two players, wide receivers. One was listed at 5'3", the other at 5'2", and they're both 105 pounds, actually. But the Thunder listed 9 players on their roster this year who were 5'3" or less. Now, how does that fare when you're going up against the box, against a team that had plenty of players in the box that were 6 feet tall and weighed more than 200 pounds? Think about that. Now, Aaron Dorrance, he's head coach of the North Carolina women's soccer team. It's a real powerhouse. And he says, once you hit 15, that's when males start getting bigger than females. I'm probably not telling you anything you don't know. Janiah Gindelsberger, she's 5'1" running back, PE teacher at Unicoi County. She scored 2 touchdowns for the Thunder in their 32-6 victory. However, she's 5'1" listed, and she was dodging the tackles of players, by and large, who are listed at 5'5". That's a little bit different than 6 foot. Now, let's not forget, Sidney Robertson did beat out several male teammates to start for the Rangers last year. On an individual basis, it is not unusual to say a female is a better athlete than a male. Okay, one of the humiliating parts of my high school was when Cheryl Clark, who does photography now, and you may have heard her. I've had her on our pregame show for Unicoi County a couple of times when they played Sullivan Central. And oftentimes I'll put her and say, hey, what's the skinny for the Cougars here that I don't know? That sort of thing. And she always tells me, she's in old high school, and she once beat me in racquetball 7-6. When we were both seniors in high school, okay? So yes, a woman can be a better athlete than a man. Okay, whatever. Collectively, it's a difficult argument. Now, I keep thinking this, though. In the United States Women's Football League, I think the fact that it exists, and for that matter, the Tri-Cities Thunder exists, tells me that football is pretty healthy. We've had all these attacks boycott the NFL. That hasn't worked. That has really not worked. I mean, the ratings are back there. I still get people who are in the sand. They go, well, the XFL, people will watch that instead of the NFL. No, they won't. They didn't watch the Alliance instead of the NFL. They're not going to, that is a fringe argument. And anyway, I'll tell you one thing. It tells me football as a sport is pretty healthy when there is a United States Women's Football League. Sports attacked for its violence. Of course, I say we still have boxing. It's not as popular as it once was, but we haven't banned it yet. So you're telling me we're going to ban football? I'm not quite buying that. But you've got right now almost 24 local women. You've got hundreds in the league. And they're putting basically 3 months of their time in. Not for pay, not for glory. Exercise, they could get injured just as easily. They're doing it for camaraderie. They're doing it to learn a new game that they love. That's an example of the growth of football, not its diminishment. So, let's give a lot of credit to the Tri-Cities Thunder. Took on all comers, won all their games, and for that matter, they played in the summer heat and not the autumn cool. But they have beaten a local high school team. I thought it was a decent argument to ask, but that really is a stretch. Anyway, I'm Marky Billson. Like I said, in 15 minutes, Vito Stellino will be talking pro football. 1:30, we're going to be picking who's going to win the Southern Conference in football. And at 1 o'clock, NASCAR has gotten exciting. Tri-Cities Sports Now. I'll talk to Jerry Bonkowski about that. Here's a word from our friends at Asian House.
For Asian House, home of the Happy Box meal, featuring plentiful appetizers and rice around your choice of 20 mouth-watering Chinese dishes. Or try their Japanese fare, sushi, sashimi, and the grill. I had my birthday dinner at Asian House and was most satisfied. Find the great menu and deals at goasianhouse.com. Use Tom for catering. You'll be most satisfied too. Asian House, nestled in the Shops on West Market on the way to Jonesboro. Mention 1420 WEMB Sports Radio and get 10% off.
An auto loan that pays you? It will when you refinance at Clinchfield Federal Credit Union. This summer, show us the best auto loan rate you have at another financial institution, and we will match or beat it and give you $100 cash. Call or come see a loan officer for a quick, easy approval. If you live, work, or worship in Unaka County or the surrounding areas, you can join. At Clinchfield Federal Credit Union, you know us, and we know you. We're family. Certain restrictions apply. Proof of rate and term required. Member NCUA.
Here's a sports flash from 1420 WEMB Sports Radio, powered by Jeep. There are just 7 races to